All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of the Ashish Ddavidd Show. Thank you for watching all the episodes, for being a part of the show. And, people from all over the world are getting in touch with me, wanting to be a part of this experience. We are being broadcast in about 65 plus countries. We are on 12 different platforms. And, today's guest is a little bit of a mystery to me as well, because she got in touch with me and she's in France, is what I understand, and she's an activist, if I may say so, about a lot of very important global issues. Now, this show usually isn't a very serious show, but, as my promise goes, anybody who wants to be a part of it and wants to, come over here and talk about some, things which are important to them, they're always welcome. And with that, I'd like to tell you about our guest today and introduce. Welcome to the Ashish Ddavidd Show. Cet, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us your name and where you're from.
Okay, so thank you very much, Ashish, to welcome me. So I'm Cet, it's my pen name. My book, it's called Cet Vies, and I'm a blogger, mainly on many topics, but what I try to put forward is human rights issues. I'm graduated in human rights. It was my single honor domain, so... and my blog is called inthenameofhumanrights.com. Usually when I have to talk, quite quickly on topics, I say that I try to cover four main topics. The first one is veganism, for many, many reasons, for animal suffering and so forth. And also, I think that this topic is really necessary to talk about it, because there is this discrepancy between people who love animals, who have got the opportunity and the luck to know animals as pets and so forth, and who know the value of having another type of species alongside with you and so forth. So they love animals, but yet they eat animals, which is
crazy. It doesn't make any sense. If you love animals, you should love all animals equally, or if you don't love animals, you shouldn't love any animals, right?
Yeah, and in India, if you don't animals, it's not a reason enough to kill them. So
right, exactly. Nobody has the right to do that. So you write a blog about human rights, and and you're an activist about a lot of things. You feel very strongly about these things. So a lot of people are probably wondering, what got you interested in, all these topics? Was it a little bit of background about how you got writing about these things which are so important to you?
Well, I'd say it's gonna be a personal answer. Yes, I wanted to look after orphan. Yeah, and as I'm French and through Francophonie, it would have been in Africa and so forth. And I try to, but in fact, humanitarian is very specific. Also, the people who can go there, basically, they are very high technician. It's like technician, logistic, or doctors. Yeah. So basically, I couldn't, and but what I wanted was to help someone who suffered. Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yes. So what I did is I realized that I wanted to travel also, or at least to have this language that allowed me to talk with more internationally than French would have permitted me. So I went for human rights and I went for English. And all of this basically is the whole story because it took up all my time.
So what are the other things which are important to you? So I think veganism is something which is really important. Somehow a lot of people don't understand it and they like to make fun of it. But Cet, let me tell you, veganism or vegetarian lifestyle, what we call it in India, has been the primary lifestyle for our country and for our people since centuries now. non-vegetarian food also has existed in different parts, and we don't discriminate against anybody who eats anything. I mean, there is a rule in the country about eating beef or butchering cows, because cow is supposed to be a holy animal in our country. But besides that, veganism and vegetarianism has been there in our culture since the very beginning. And I think now people are starting to understand a healthy lifestyle and how eating a plant-based diet is more conducive to your health. Not just to your health, but it's a more sustainable lifestyle to live. So,
and even
yes.
spiritually and morally, and all of it is all-encompassing, is a holistic thing, in fact, right? And for health, it is true. And but I'd say that health is not a sufficient reason for that. Is that it's just a question of dignity and of honor. You just don't raise animal from babies, or even you don't hunt them thinking that this is your land and you have to kill anything that is on it for your pleasure, or for it's because it's easy. And also, I think it's politically has been used as a permanent and redundant. It has been used as a instrument of terror, because if your neighbor can kill anything that fly, anything that sings, or anything that it's is very, it's more than intimidating, is the right to kill, basically. That in the country now where famine and nutrition is, in Europe, basically people are okay, but there is still people that are too poor to eat good food, but it doesn't mean that in any case, what you said about in India, where vegetarianism was the something common. In fact, in retrospective, in history, it was the same in Europe, in a different kind of way, because it was not a religious meal, yes. But basically people were too poor to have meat on their plate, yes, and to nourish the population, you had to do what is more efficient, that is to say, to grow plant, because the plant feed you, it doesn't feed the animal. So if you want to fight famine, and in any case, you have to focus on what directly will feed you, so people didn't eat meat a lot, and now there's people who say, yes, but it's because they are poor, so now we are rich and we want to prove are more powerful and are better. It is to kill anything that fly, anything that move. But yes, I think that what is very degrading is to think that, basically, is to think that it's you can do that with dignity, to raise a baby lamb, I'm not gonna list all of that.
Yes.
That in my implied, and end up eating them, for your pleasure, really, because there is many people, if you interrogate them about why they wouldn't stop eating meat, they say that because it's good. It's because it's so, and we've got a cultural problem as well, because I'm from a culture where so meat is in every meal, basically. Yes. It's around. If people in my culture think that if there's no meat, there's no meal, basically, or what is this? It's at least a few decades ago, or no, because in fact, if you go too long ago, people didn't eat meat. But I mean, this kind of period where I'd say baby boom, after the war, basically, yes, and the industrialization of it, right? Very still is very, very powerful in our mind, and also is why we need information, is how to be healthy and with a good nutrition. And this, you need to know a lot about how to be an healthy vegan or an healthy vegetarian. And that if it's information is lacking, you think I know because I felt it myself. It was before the internet and so forth. I never managed to read about a vegetarian. I have a vegetarian book, and so it's you don't want to have to eat something that you don't know how to be healthy with, so you need information. But now it's internet, so you've got so much information. And also, but this is a problem in Europe, is that to be a really healthy vegetarian, what you need is an Indian shop, because you've got 10 different type of dal, 10 different type of 15 different type of beans, of herbs, But in France, for example, you will have 2 types or 3 types of beans and 2 types of lentils, maybe 3 types of lentils and 4 types of beans if you are lucky, right? So this is a problem, or you want vegan yogurt, yes, but the price of a yogurt is gonna be 5 times I'm exaggerating, but 3 times as much as the other one. So everything is made very, very complicated, and it's made very complicated by the meat industry, certainly as well, yes.
And there is a very active agenda going on, with, I think, the meat industry, that they want to make sure that, they are putting out false information about how somebody can't get the same kind of nutrition from a plant-based or a vegan-based diet. Whereas I think people in India, in our side of the world, said, we have known this for centuries now. So, it's only now with, the advent of fast food, of all these multinationals, coming in, and there's, fast food burger joints, pizza joints, the global giants, and they've come in, and somehow, since all of that happened, our general health has been just going down.
It is what is happening in Europe, is that the life expectancy has been on and on and on and on, plus, and now it's kind of we wonder if it's not going down because of this, because of pollution as well. It's not only about food. It's about all that we did, all the pollution we spread about there. It's in the air, it's in the land, it's in the food, it's absolutely everywhere, the pollution. It's in the water and so forth.
What are the other things that you wanted to sort of talk about and discuss?
Alors, the other thing is gonna be the censorship in China that try to expose, because it's not something that is, maybe in India is something is different, but in Europe is the amount of censorship and the amount of people putting in jail that you can't raise any criticism about Xi, so the president, or about the Communist Party and so forth, is really not really known. Also, the debt trap that China generates through the loan in Africa, in Asia, even in Europe now. Montenegro might be in a very bad way. Big construction that the country, they know the country pay. It's just like as easy as what have been done in the US when a bank do a big shark loan on a house that they know people won't be able to repay. So they try to repay, plus with a big percentage, that shouldn't be permitted percentage on it. They know they can't repay, and they know that a few years later they come and they take the house. So
Yes.
they took the price, they took the percentage of for the loan, and they come back and take your house. And also they regulate any laws that can. There's a U.S. citizen that for example, they bought a house, and if the contract is done in a way that it's not even theirs, that it's not inhabitable house. They can't even resell the house because it's worth nothing. They've got problem in the UK as well about cladding. I mean, it's Europe. It's people. It's like countries that manage to be rich enough to have a cohesion in society, and they leave that happen. That people build. They build. It's a big thing in the UK for years now. It's cladding. Basically, they clad. The building, so high-rise building with a wrong type of cladding. So basically, it's like it's a fire trap. Basically, if there's any fire, the thing is going into flame in 2 minutes. No one has respected the law and regulation about our house must be built
Arson.
for it not
Yes.
to be. Yeah, not for it not to be a fire trap, basically. And these haven't been respected. So people innocently they buy their home. In the UK, the price of a home is unbelievably high. Yes, very high. So you work all your life to pay your flat, basically, and the flat they are in are a death trap. They are fire trap. And no, the government is saying nothing. There's people that made million and billion out of it, and no one is, is like people. The result is people living in flats they shouldn't have been able to buy because it shouldn't have been allowed for this flat to be built in the first place. They spend all their earnings in the flat that they can't resell because it's a death trap, and the governments do nothing about it.
So what you're saying is that there is, while they are constructing the building or the flat, there is a guideline that they are not following, or they are following the wrong guideline, and there is some kind of material that they're putting on the building, which makes sure that in case there's a fire, the entire thing will get burnt down as soon as possible. They
are not following the guidelines.
Okay.
So there's, I don't know how many buildings. It's like a big scandal in the UK. It's a cladding scandal.
Cladding.
CLADDING. Yeah, cladding. It's
some kind of a layer which is outside the building.
Or inside.
Or maybe inside.
Between the walls, you see.
Between the walls.
So this technically, I'm not, that I think it's insulation material or something like this.
So
whatever.
Either they are putting something wrong in there, or they are not putting something right.
Yes.
One of the two. Either.
Or they are not putting something that would stop the fire. Yeah. And they are putting material highly inflammable. It's highly inflammable.
Oh God.
But God. You can check in the UK. It's a big scandal. It's been for years, and the government say absolutely nothing. These people are not helped. They basically bought a flat that are that were illegal. It was illegal for these people to sell them.
Would it be possible for you to tell us what is the source of this information? Because I mean, as you can tell, that the nature of this is pretty controversial. So somebody listening to this,
Ashish, it's not controversial.
It is open knowledge.
it's one of the biggest scandals in the UK at today.
And is the mainstream media talking about this?
Oh, yeah, mainstream, of course. It's all what I'm saying is mainstream media. I don't enter into others because I'm not saying that some are not true. Far from it, I'm not saying.
Yes.
But me,
but
I'm
this
not
is something which is common knowledge. Everybody knows about this, you're saying?
Yeah, everybody knows about it.
So if for anybody who wants to look it up, you can probably search for cladding. Cladding in the United Kingdom or UK.
Yeah.
You also mentioned censorship in China and the debt trap that China has in a lot of countries. I mean, I know about this because I do my personal research on China because India and China relations have been pretty stressed. As you already know, we share a border.
At the borders. Yeah.
So you already know about what all has been happening, and there's land encroachment and and not just now, from the time of Nehru, from the time of independence, this has been happening in India. And so many parts
it's like the Himalayan part, or
Himalayan part, exactly. So there are a lot of parts in India which have been encroached by China, and because India has been very liberal and open, and we didn't treat them like an enemy, but they started behaving like one. So there are a lot of parts of India which have been taken over by them, and they claim it's China's land, whereas it was actually India's land all along. And thousands and thousands of kilometers worth land has been taken by them. And because India is very peace loving and tolerant, but now of course we've become smart, and we've started taking precautions, and an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth kind of a situation, because different governments have different ways of dealing with problems. And luckily enough, our current government is like a zero BS government. So I mean, there are plus sides and minus sides to that, but the China situation has always been there as far as I know. So could you tell us a little more about your insight and your findings of the media? Let's start with the media censorship in China and what you know about it.
Media censorship. So basically, China is not really internet. It's not internet. It's it's like of works as an intranet. But it's to say you can't go anywhere and everywhere and just gather information like I do and you do, I guess, yeah. But in China, it's controlled by the government. So basically, is what they decide what you can access or what you can't access. So basically, when, for example, as a Chinese, you will look for Tiananmen Square, or you will look for Mao. Mao, you find Mao. But if you want to find the famines and the millions of people dying of hunger or even killed during under Mao regime, you can't find anything. What you find, I think, is like a error type of 404 error, or it's a technical mistake, or zero result. But more likely, the 404 error is that, for example, if you are in China and you want to access my blog in China, you can't access it. You can access Chinese blog because they are regulated by moderators and by governments, and moderators paid by the governments. But if you want to access a foreign outside China blog, no possible. You can't access YouTube. So not Chinese is gonna be able to see this show, for example, because you are on Facebook. Facebook, it's not possible. There is no one page that Chinese people can see on Facebook. So of course they've got the equivalent Facebook. They've got the equivalent of YouTube.
Yeah, I think the equivalent of they have a platform called WeChat, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, WeChat, yeah.
So they use it to communicate, to transfer money. It's kind of like a social network as well. I think they also do shopping on it or something.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of integrated services.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right that WeChat is very, very, very. It's like a WhatsApp, but in fact, there's much more function.
There's much more to it.
Yeah,
and it's all government controlled.
And it's all
everything is government controlled.
And everything is controlled by the government. And the problem for the Chinese people on top of it all is that so this is 2016. It's not so long ago. The censorship is long ago, yeah. But plus it always has been in China, yeah. In China, there's no one book about maybe in Hong Kong, but about Mao Famines and so forth. It has not been acknowledged by the regime. Yeah, I mean, what you've got in China, you've got notes. You've got notes with Mao head on top of it. Yeah, it's everything is still about Mao there. Yeah, though the catastrophe that. Means millions of people died under Mao. Yeah, I think like a conservative figure is 30 million of people. Yes, it's not nothing. Yeah, I mean, of course, China is so big, but it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. 30 million is a big number of people. It's a huge number of people. 30 million.
And purge as well, yeah. They killed teachers, they killed intellectuals, they killed. So it's not only but we failed as an administration. It was not only that, and plus the administration failures is like the central power knew and nothing had been done. I mean, it's like là I'm changing subject, but like it's like in Somalia, the famine. The famine in Somalia is interesting to know because, well, it's not China, it's Africa, but also it tells something about the international community. Yeah, the famine in Somalia was not kind of quote unquote natural famine. In fact, in Somalia. In Ethiopia at the time, the harvest was rather good. Yeah, why you had these kids and dying from hunger is because the food that was supposed to nourish them never arrived. Yeah, because they cut roads. It's not because the food was not there. There was like tons and tons and tons of rice, of wheat, of whatever, food that were like a few hundred kilometers from them, yeah? Is that the road had been cut and no one opened this road again. It's like in this way we could die of famine in 5 minutes, all of us, yeah? You just cut the roads and you say, well, mate, there's no water, there's no food any longer. We would hold on, I don't know, a few months and we will die. It's so easy and fast, this kind of situation, right? And so just a few years ago, you've got the social credit system. And the social credit system, so there's camera everywhere. And of course, you've got a file. A kind of a file that every citizen's got a file, and they list what you've done well or what you haven't done well. So if you cross the street, but it's not your time because the fire is red or amber. You cross the street, you've got minus point for you.
Okay.
If you a problem of debt, it's minus point for you. if you say something on the social media they don't like, you've lost point. And every time you've lost point, you lost opportunity for transportation, opportunity for school for your children. You lose possibility for welfare state. Like in China, for example. When you are a teacher, you rent your flat from the party and so forth. There's a lot of problem with space as well. But housing in China, the housing problem is high in China, right? So
the housing,
basically.
yes.
Whatever you do, they give you bonus point or minus point. Yeah. So if I start saying something about Chi, yeah, you've got minus point. Be careful, yeah, you lost your point. So you if you say something about the Communist Party, yeah, even your children can't enter the school any longer. Transportation. I mean, if you don't get, there's many Chinese people who goes like they are thousands of kilometers from their parents, also from their kids that are raised by their parents. Poor Chinese people basically.
Yes.
They go and find the work where it is, right? If they transportation, they can't take the transportation. They never see their parents any longer, right? And that, I mean, it's a bit stretched, but anyhow,
but this is a way in which the government is kind of making you feel like heard, that everybody needs to follow this, that this is the way your mind needs to work. This is how you need to indoctrinate yourself. So they want everybody to think the same things, believe the same things, do the same things. So basically, there is no, individuality left. Your basic right as a human being to think independently, to make decisions independently, is kind of taken over by the government, and you're just told you either do this and you're a good citizen, or you do that and you're a bad citizen. And although, yeah, it's too much control, I feel.
Yeah. It's, in fact, it raises the question if you are still a citizen, yeah, because in that case you are not more a citizen, you are more like a subject, right? I mean, of course, it's like it's almost it could be justify. For example, it's not really justify, but it's like in another system is that if you kill someone, right? Let's say it's really bad, you kill someone, right? It's not defense and so forth. So of course it's normal you are sanctioned, yeah. But you lose your point for your children, for example. It's not even. I don't know what to say because it's I think they are.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very. You need specialists to debate that because it's so gross, basically. Because of course you can think a system that, but not even this system, yeah. Because basically for the school, your parents' fault. Make sure that as a kid you don't enter a good school, and it's because of your parents' behavior, right? So mine is a bit the same in Europe because, for example, if you want to enter the police and if your family has been as a past shady past, you can't enter the police. It's much more difficult for you to enter the police. So it's not like, but no, it's absolutely awful because the party. I mean, it's not like even they were doing their best. Maybe in that kind of situation where you think, they are trying to do their best. You need something. You need a law going on in life because if not, people who profit from other people will rule anyhow. So you have to find the rule that stop people for profiting from others to rule, basically, right? But the problem is that the party is profiting from other people, right? Is they are multi-billionaire, is profiting only families and so forth. I mean, the living condition of it's very all flashy, because when you don't know China very much, and the only 10 minutes that you get from the Confucius Institute, and I'm not even talking about China. I'm talking about what the Western will show about China. And of course, there's a billion and billion and billion and billion industry. So you see things that are very rich and so forth. Yeah, the rich middle class rising and so forth. But the population in China is still very poor. Yeah, there is people. There is so many people with absolutely nothing. Right. So there is rich, but rich on the back of who? On the back of children who works, on the back of people who live in the dust. The rubbishes are not even collected by the party, since it's the only thing you can ask is from the party. You can't say, oh, but this party is not collecting our rubbish, we will vote for someone else, because we need the minimum is for this rubbish to be collected, right? No, you can't do that. It's only one party in China, so they do absolutely whatever they want. It's like there's a certificate system as well. In China, it's like the average of certificate you've got to have to show the administration is like 70 or something, and every time you've got to pay. But for people who are like laborers and so forth, it's they almost stop having official life. Because you can't pay all of this every time. You can't. It's like yes, for a foreigner is good because everything is like you can pay, But since the laborers' wage is so low, they can't pay the first thing. They can't pay pipes. Like water tap. They can't pay electricity. They are in a bad place, basically. Yeah, they're in a bad place, and why? Because you are in bad place. You're in bad place. There's country that anyhow. The whole system, the whole international community has been profiting from them. Yeah, so it's the whole country. But now in China is the leaders that profit from these people that are still living on top of refuse that no one is collecting, without water, without electricity, and so forth. And this is China a lot, It's not China only a little bit. So the social credit system on top of it all, right?
Right. And you also were talking about, how their debt system kind of is a strategy for them to, take over different parts of the world territorially and maybe financially.
This is I know example, but I know there is a few examples in Asia, but in Africa, well, super the case. It's why for example, harbors, ports are really targeted because, of course, it's also within this philosophy, which is expansionism, but also is what it is. It's global. It's global economy. So you want the product, the people, the idea, and the technology to circulate, basically. But so in Africa, is what happened. They know that the African people cannot repay it. Also, what is happening with Chinese is illegal trade of timber. Yeah, And timber for Chinese is not coming from China any longer very much. It's coming from Africa, yeah. So there's the Congo, as usual, has got timber and has got gold, mine. Like there's got everything in some African country. They have gold, diamond, copper, zinc, name it, And so mines and illegal trade, illegal wildlife trade. Also, so and they build. So what is the MO of China in this kind of in Africa, for example, near harbors, is they sign big contracts with corrupt officials in Africa. Is what it is, yeah. I mean, and as like they will do in Europe, yeah, same thing, yeah, exactly same thing. Is what is the problem of well, it's a universal, it's a completely international problem where it's everywhere. Where in fact your officials are supposed to protect their people, they are supposed to protect peoples as well, because you don't want to be the part of an industry that basically are sucking the blood of other people, yeah, and you don't want your people to end up being also victim of that trade, yeah, and the pollution or whatever, yeah. So what they do is that. They sign billion contract with corrupted people in Africa. They build big infrastructure. So there's people that say, yeah, but this is the fault of other countries because we didn't. Africa needs road. They need bridges. They need all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, they need infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah. So infrastructure, but this is not political because, the problem is with this the mind of growth, yeah. But our politicians still talk about growth, and it's not growth or qualitative growth, or to make sure that there's artisan or quality things. No, it's quantity things, and we know that we are killing ourselves doing that. We know, everyone knows that we are killing ourselves doing that. Is vampire economy that, but there's still Angela Merkel and all of them, yeah, all of them. They say no. What we need is growth, right? And now they want growth in Africa, but in Europe, Europe has been decimated. Yes. Before Europe was covered with forest, yeah, there is no more wild in Europe. Wild is like a fantasy in Europe right now. It's so everything is human change. Anyway, it's no wood any longer. It's forest. So you've got rank of the forests are empty. There is we lose big mammals and so forth. But no, these people, they want the same thing for Africa. Whatever, yeah. Also, I admit. But you need security, yeah? Everyone needs security. So there's a problem with infrastructure, because it's true that you will be more safe if you've got something solid, yeah. But what they did to help security the other governments is France, the UK, Russia. And China now, yeah, just to name only a few, they do what? They do arms sale. This country, this so big country, because they are still in the UN for security and so forth. They made like crazy money with arms sales. And for example, I'll say a lot UK and France, because I know these two countries. It doesn't mean that the others are not at it. You know what I mean, yeah. But for example, in France, is the most our presidents also is Africa because of Francophonie. Most our presidents have been touching big scandals with arms selling. Mitterrand, which has been president twice, a left guy, his son was doing armed trade. Yeah, the right from the right, another one just before Mitterrand, been a big scandal about the diamond he was. Like kind of a gift he was given just to initiate contracts. Just what is happening. So the MO of China. Sorry, I said. Chinese MO there is to go and do big infrastructure. Some of which, not a few of which, because kind of really a lot of this infrastructure is not really useful, right? It's not used at its full capacity. It hasn't been done. It basically is not fought for the country. It's not. It's fought for.
The aim is different. The agenda is different. It's not what they are saying. It's basically been made to fulfill another agenda or another purpose, basically.
Well, to for the project to be as big as possible, because if you do a big project, you're gonna be asking billion for it. No, not million or not a few billion, but you will ask much more money. Yeah. So it's also his project that it's completely it's you can't control it any longer. It's so big, but anyhow the people wouldn't be able to control where the money goes, and so it's also is as well that is because it's so overwhelming, it's so gross, but you lose any sense of reason and any sense of control. So you've got this big, but Europe have done the same. Huh? So to be honest, because
yes.
When you study humanitarian thing, is that you end up with. Same. So building industry is famous to be mafia. Is famous to be controlled by mafia, or at least by criminal organization and so forth, because money is going. In France the same. It's not that I want to target my own country. It's just because I'm more read about France than I am. You find these mayors, the councillors, the politician, national, regional politician, and so forth. They give a contract to contractors, and in exchange, they've got villas or they've got swimming pools in south of France constructed for free for them. You see, and it's everywhere like this, right? So you've got this. It doesn't fit the country. It doesn't fit the needs. It doesn't fit the industry. It doesn't fit the economy. It doesn't fit nothing. Yeah, and on top of it. The building, it is built by Chinese people. So they import the staff. They import Chinese people doing. So it doesn't profit. It's infrastructure. Sorry, in Africa, it is not done by African people. It's done by Chinese people. So
Yes.
it won't resolve an unemployment problem and so forth. And they found out with infrastructure, some they can't use. So Europe have done the same with hospital. It was one of the big scandals of humanitarian system. They built big hospital. The hospital were empty because their local population couldn't just, they were too poor to come to the doctors. And even when they came, and it was to run an hospital is something, you need electricity, you need machine. You need medication. The medication are patented. They like to have your malaria, only malaria medication is gonna be $1 a day. Who can afford $1 a day? It's not. Maybe yes, because they will use medication that are not. There's big problem like this in Africa. It's not really medication. They poison themselves more than they. And yes, and it's the society in which we live. And so and on top of it, so you've got an infrastructure that doesn't fit your economy. The local population has been more alienated that now you've got billions of money going there and there and there. But it fits an agenda, or certainly establishing a class or caste even, or like people that are so rich that they are the law can't touch them, basically, and people that are
the proletariat, so basically the proletariat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you've got all of this, and on top of that, since your country cannot repay, you're gonna have the Chinese owning, because they don't own the port at the beginning. But since you can't repay, they say, okay, you can't repay. I'm gonna be on this port for 100 years. It's 100, it's not 20. Usually it's 90 years. 90 years. You understand? 90 years, yeah? Like 3-4 generation, right? It's like my grandparents, they were there, right? And they say, no problem. We're gonna get that, and they run the port, the harbor. It's just like old colonialist counter, yeah.
Yes.
Because it's like you take a port, and you run everything by the port, because of course you won't bother doing roads to link everything is so whatever.
100 years is like 100 years. So much can happen in 100 years. And it is so difficult to also put an amount of money on it that, for 100 years we'll pay you that much. But the actual worth would be so much more. Like you can't put an amount on that.
No, you can't. It's exactly this. You can't. And plus, it's military, because China is threatening India. Is threatening. Me sometimes I'm a bit, I think, it's just mirroring my problem, because I've been hearing about Free Tibet forever. Since I'm 20, I haven't heard about a lot of things, but I've heard about Free Tibet since I'm a 20-ish. And it took me like 15 years, more than, and on top, it's almost a coincidence, because I start reading about China, right? I kind of pull the right thread, and I start reading about China. Yeah? But Tibet is a complete invasion. Tibet is not Chinese, so now they are more or less autonomous region of China. But Tibet is absolutely not Chinese. Tibet is Tibetan, but it's been invaded and conquered by China for kind of ever, right? And so Tibet, that is still a problem. Tibet now is no more a problem because it's part of China, but in fact it's because the British is abandoning them, and it's been of German interest as well, and blah blah. Bon, on top of it, I am not really for religion as stuff, because I think that religion has been used just to exploit the people really badly. Yes, and the Tibet was the same case. There was like the monk that were the top of the crust, and there was others. Yeah, it was the same, but I think you can count really much more on Tibetan religious to protect Himalaya than you can on an ideology that is or capitalist or communist. You see See the thing, right? So they encroach one of the purest part of Himalaya. It's from another country. Whatever. So they've got problem with Nepal. They don't like the Mongolian. They are threatening the Philippines as well. But now I think they are back to being friends. But the China Sea problem, yeah. But they say no, this is our sea. This always has been Chinese and so forth. There's and also I want to say I am not an historian at all. Even if I was, this is there must be something big, and. But for Tibet, yes, I kind of read about Tibet because I was so shocked. And
so Seth, you'll be surprised. Yesterday night, I got a video from a person who was in Tibet. Now she's in Delhi. She's a mom. She's a singer. She's a vocal coach. She does music, and she wanted to be a part of the Ashish Ddavidd show. So very soon I'll be having her, and she wanted to share her story of how her land was encroached by authorities and how she had to leave her own country and come to India. As a refugee, and how 3 generations have faced difficulties. So she's going to be on my show. So in the future, in maybe a week or something, I'm going to interview her, and she's going to talk of her story.
She will have a lot to say because it's been we can't use the term genocide like this because it's an India, but it's been a complete cultural genocide, and they were killing the invaded Tibet, and the Dalai Lama is not in Tibet. Yeah, is like well, he was in India. I don't know where the Dalai Lama now is, but everyone went to India basically. Yes, well, it's where Buddhism was born.
Yes.
Am I right or wrong? Yeah.
Yes.
But this is Buddhism, is Tibetan Buddhism, right? But they run for India, and even the Dalai Lama run for India, right? Because there was nothing else they could do. Also, about the Dalai Lama, the next Dalai Lama it's on the Chinese program. They want to elect the next Dalai Lama. It's not gonna be elected by the Tibetan. It's gonna be elected by the Communist Party. The next Dalai Lama. And it has been like it's been a total. There's so many people immolating themselves, so many monks immolating themselves. I didn't know that there are so many monks regularly immolating themselves. And but Tibet has been completely invaded by China, and this is after the Second World War. Huh? So she's got a lot to say because people, it's certainly amount to genocide. Certainly something that is gonna be controversial because the genocide is, it's the definition is always being, when you talk about the G word, which is genocide, is very, very controversial because basically the international community has an obligation to act. When you say yes, it's definitely a genocide, then the international community has a duty to act, and it's why it's so a hot topic in international law. But this what happened to Tibet is it's amount to a genocide, and fortunately for them, they had India to run to, because.
And are there other things, Seth, that you are passionate and want to talk about?
Human trafficking.
Yes.
Alors, this is this very, very important subject. Is the subject certainly I'm more read into. So I could talk to others about it. Is very worrying. Me, I started studying it as a child marriage thing and also sex tourism thing. So I know that basically it's Asia and the Pacific that are mostly affected by it. Well, it's so trafficking is, India is, I think, is particularly touched by it. That when you learn, in fact, that I would, because me, I read things, but I realize that in India, for example, there's women that are kind of imprisoned in red quarters. They don't have a choice to go. It's like so that's sex trafficking, and it's modern slavery basically, and it's sex slavery. So I think it's the most horrendous things that can be done in life. Labor slavery is something, but you can go. You know what I mean. You can stop, and in fact, it's not working like this because, for example, in Africa there is still big pockets of modern slavery. And what you know is that obviously you can't go, because if you could go, then it wouldn't be the same thing. It's happening in big, and because you can't go, because if you are caught to go on big exploitation and so forth, you are killed. It's as simple as that. You are slave. You are slave. You are treated as a slave. The government, the politician does nothing about. No one is on your side, and you get killed. Yes, and that is all. Yeah, but let's say that yes, it's the most horrendous things that happen, because when it comes to sexual slavery, the trauma and the torture it implies for the body and the mind is it's endless basically. Yeah. So it's
so according to your research or whatever you've studied, which are the parts of the world where this is happening, and do you have some kind of statistic on what age group it is, and which parts of the world are affected worst by it?
Yeah, this is what I found quite recently. It's maybe 1 year ago, or a little bit more now. I've been very surprised. It's also happening a lot in USA. Voilà. And it's not any figures. It's figure that are released from the state. So it's from national department, release statistics. So it's national statistic. And for example, in USA, there's 300,000 children. So under the age of 18, 300,000 children a year at risk of sexual exploitation.
Wow.
Of course, it's enormous, huh? But of course, it's recover other kind of reality. It's for example, if you are at risk, it's maybe the ones. See, on but if you are trade for money. Once it counts, yeah. It doesn't mean that you are a slave after. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, so it recover other kind of reality than being taken from your countryside and thrown into the jaws of all quarter where you cannot move. Yeah, when you cannot escape from it. It's other realities, but in fact, what is like is that these women, so they are children. You know, the special target, they are children, yeah, because well, it's around us, yes, but basically there's the perpetrators. There's many perpetrators that like younger people, yeah. So it's not. And yet again, there's a problem distinguishing prostitution and exploitation. Yeah, but there is the reality of prostitution. The reality of prostitution is that these women are like suffer horrendous condition, as like and they are not paid. Yes. There is no, like, at the end of the day, you are paid, and maybe after all this torture on you, on your intimity, on everything, on your body, on your mind, you've been tortured forever, and you've been raped forever for 3 years, and you can go because you've got money. It is not gonna be happening like this, right?
So this is not to be confused with some kind of a choice that the person is making. It's you don't have a choice. There is no monetary transaction. It's simple and plain slavery.
Yeah. There is this, but you know, the problem also is that the difference between what is regarded as prostitution and what in fact is not. To many women that are prostitutes, that you think they are prostitutes, they are in fact sexually exploited. Because I don't want even to enter into condition of prostitution, because it's a list of horrors, right? But for example, they have so many. It's not even claim, but there are so many transactions a day, right? They suffer attack, they suffer malnutrition, they suffer to under that endless and daily torture. There's a lot of problem of addictions as well, right? And the last. So the trauma, yeah. If you ask a doctor to list the trauma of what being exploited, or even being so not exploited, but what someone who works who are in prostitution. If you list the number of traumas, physical traumas, mental traumas, it's the worst torture ever, right? So it's the worst torture ever. So the list is like endless, yes. And it's like the brain. Now there's for example, it's like a new thing that can illustrate the thing, yeah. But if a doctor sees the brain of someone that has been sexually exploited, they can say this person has been sexually exploited. Because the brain neurologically is like scar. It's a new finding. It hasn't been, of course, because by neurology, they can say, "Oh no, this person has been sexually exploited," because the brain is like it caused so much suffering. I think what it's kind of hard talking about it, because I think that everyone knows what it must be. to be used as in prostitution, right? And on top of it, when you earn little or no money, when you are plied with alcohol or plied with drugs, and on top of it all, because you want to take an escape route and you can't, or you can't because you are surrounded by violence. I mean, the life expectancy of someone being sexually exploited, so that is to say, really sexually exploited, it's 7 years. So these people will die from homicide, disease, sexually transmittable disease, general poor health, a suicide, and OD, and overdose.
Overdose, yes.
Yes, which in here there's overdose may well be suicide, So basically, it's like you've got to see a few times. Is for example, it's held by in the US. It's been a lot of this, even in the UK and so forth, right? You've got, but in the US, in the UK, it's not comparable. But in the UK, you've got a few pockets, even everywhere. But I mean, a few good pockets. But the US, it's like industrial, right? But they've got new drugs. Very, very, very powerful drugs. In fact, fentanyl has been said, there's a lot of, because I can't keep up with everything, but fentanyl has been said that it's coming from China as well, but whatever, Big drugs, very, very powerful drugs, but you take like a droplet might kill you, yes? So they mix, and it's like it's fentanyl. It's a new drug on the street, right? And it's like ice. Me, it's not my generation, this one, but we are the generation of just ice, yes? You go on ice, you see the picture of people that are still healthy, and 3 years after, they look like zombie, you see? It's with this kind of drugs, but people enslaved in that kind of condition kind of managed, because one of the most what is mostly said is that it's so horrific that these women said that they kind of distinguish between themselves and their body. They don't belong to their body anymore. Whatever happened to their body is nothing to do with them any longer. It's how they cope. It's mentally, psychologically, mentally, is how they cope. And it's our people that are tortured forever, by in prison and so forth. They are raped, they are tortured. But basically, it's how people tend to cope. It's that whatever happened to your body now, and it's logical, right? You can't stop the torture, so you need to come up with something, right? And what you come up with is that this is not my body any longer. Just do whatever you want with it. Me, I'm somewhere else. And what is really adding is why it's why it goes kind of a bit. One will easily think, but this is prostitution. You can go. We are in a free country. You can go. You can go to the police. Go to the police and say you are a prostitute. Yeah, in many countries, and in the US included, prostitution is illegal. So if they got you being a prostitute, even if you are a minor, they will give you a criminal record. It's all that is gonna give you. They're not gonna give you a shelter, even on minors, right? This, you see, it's one of information I have to reread again and again and again, because I know I read it in very formal sources, but I think, oh no, like something must be wrong, so something must be wrong. I misread, or it's just it happened a few times, and every time I come back, and every time it is like this. They catch minors They are below 18. Below 18. Even you are 18, you are 19, you are 20, you are a baby. Yeah, it's still a baby. Yeah, 20 is still a baby. Yeah, but under 18, they catch someone on an act of soliciting or curb calling or something like this. Yeah, they catch them. They give them a criminal record. Why they are being exploited, because they are not kind of selling themselves in the street. Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because you know that if you are in the street, is what happened to women in particular. You're gonna have someone who is collecting what you earn, basically. Yes. So first of all, yeah. And why is this happening on and on and on is because, for example, being a procureur, so quote unquote like a procureur, so pimp, right? It's very good money, yeah, very good money, and very a small
small number of people doing it, right?
Yes, and the risk.
There's no
the
risk.
risk is minimum because legally it is not targeted. It's famous. Huh? It's academically famous. Huh? It's one of the first data you are faced with. It's very very famous. If you are a pimp, you will earn good money. Well, of course, you have to be a successful one, I guess. But whatever, yeah, it's good money because you are doing nothing. You are doing nothing. You are just collecting. You are basically not even protecting women because many are they don't have a choice. If they don't say yes, the mafia will make sure they say yes, right? And basically, what is happening is that to be caught as exploitation of human being it doesn't happen. One, in the legal system, he hasn't been official. It's only from 2000 that human trafficking has been legally
recognized and
recognized. Only 2000. So before you were done for being a procurer, basically.
Hundreds and hundreds of years there was no recognition of that in the legal system.
No. Well, but when you read the story and so forth, military, they were doing it, right? It was the military. There is uncountable, numerous story about again, I think it's all militaries, French militaries, because also they've got records about it, yeah, right? But they were organizing prostitution. The militaries, yes, and they were like they did in Vietnam, like they did in North Africa, like they did everywhere, basically.
Right. Superb. So it's been really nice, getting all these information from you, Cet. Thank you so much for your time. I know, 1 hour and 20 minutes is not enough, to get all your thoughts together. And I'm sure there's so much more that you also want to, talk about. And this interaction has been very nice. And thank you so much for your time. And would you like to tell us, where people who find this talk interesting and want to know more about you, could you tell us the URL of your blog, or where people can find more information about you, what you write, or your books, or where can they get those from?
Yeah, I'm Cet Vies. From my book, Cet Vies, and my main blog is In the Name of Human Rights.com.
In the Name of Human Rights.com, right?
Yeah.
All right. So In the Name of Human Rights, Cet writes about a lot of things which are controversial, which you might not get in the mainstream media. She does her research. She's concerned about a lot of topics which are very close to her. Thank you, Cet, for sharing yourself, your ideas, your information. I might not always agree with everything that you're saying, but that's that's a personal choice that everybody has. But you have the right.
You should have said. I'm not
No,
against
it. No. See, this platform is not about me. It's about the people.
Yes,
and I might agree with you or I might not agree with you, and that is inconsequential. What is most important is that if Cet wants to come on the show and she wants to say something, she has 100% right to come here and speak freely about whatever she wants. And this is not just for you, Cet, it is for everybody. And whoever wants to use this opportunity to be on the Ashish Ddavidd Show and express.
But it was very nice. In fact, I'm very grateful for you to welcome me because, yes, it's simple as that. Yes, so to say something about what is missing in this podcast world,
yes.
I think it's debate. Okay. Yeah. Like between two guests or something like this. It is true. It's really missing. So just an idea out there.
Absolutely. So maybe I'll find a way to get more people to interact and to debate, and that'll make it probably more interesting.
It would, yeah. It would be very interesting if But to be honest, it's really missing in the podcast world because I start knowing a little bit around and it's really missing because like this there is at least data that you can plus they are very, very big subjects. So at one point, any speakers, unless he's specialist or specialist, like he's got a page, he works on it, and as a daily basis, the data is so we are so submerged by all of this. And also, you can know about, for example, India, but you need someone to know about China or Nepal or France. To try this. To give some kind of balance because
yes, and even give different perspectives as well.
Yeah, completely honestly, there's data you are absolutely not aware of. If I can just say a last thing very quickly is
yes, please.
Is about the LGBT people because it's I'm on a new project here and it's happening in the United Nations camp. And LGBT refugees are just simply assaulted almost daily by the local population and the other refugees. But basically, this is happening. It's a story happening now, and it's happening in Kenya and homosexuality is like it's Ugandan people going out of Uganda because of almost the death penalty. Is one of the countries that wanted a death penalty for the LGBT people, but in fact in Uganda it didn't really happen, but they are persecuted, right? And they are in this UN camp in Kenya, where in Kenya it's criminalized LGBT people. Thank you for idea for the recent, I think it's 2015 Supreme Court decision decriminalizing LGBT. Yeah, and basically they are assaulted almost daily within the UN camp, and the UN staff are absolutely doing nothing. There has been 2 months ago I was speaking to someone that alerted me onto that, and 1 month later he was dead. So he has been a murder in that camp, and this is someone I knew. So yeah.
Superb. Thank you so much for that information as well, Cet. It was great talking to you. And I hope to catch you soon and to get more updates from you. And
thank you, Ashish.
And Cet, I need to let you know that the show is always open for you. You can always come here again and we can have more talks about other things that you are wanting to talk about. But for now, I think I'll have to wrap up the show.
Exactly.
It was lovely talking to you. You have a great day, and
My
be
pleasure.
safe, and all the best for the future. Bye.
Bye.